Eddie, Tim Hatch says he's got an idea for how he can modify his Tim Yoder elbow tool, the older style like mine, to fit his Jet 2021 because with the tailstock on, it's a little bit too short. I have the same issue with my 2014. So if you want to see how he's planning on doing that.
Are you there, Tim?
Yes, sir. So the issue I have, and by the way, Bob, I love the oboe tool, but this thing is a friggin' beast. It is long, and yeah, I could cut down my cutter bar, but that wouldn't do me any good when I get a bigger lathe. So I'm not gonna do that. So the way this whole thing hooks up is basically this goes to the tailstock. And I thought about doing Billy Burke's way of getting an M2 Morse taper blank and then cranking that on the blank. But the other idea I had was, well, searching the internet, I came across Captain Eddie's snake hollower that he built. And then I also looked at Tim Yoder's elbow tool #2, his design, and I also like Trent Bosch's design. So what I came up with was a piece of 1/2-inch steel. I got a plumbing fitting for a 1/2-inch pipe mounted to the 1/2-inch steel piece there. And you know, they don't make 1/2-inch plumbing fitting. It's actually 5/8. So I went Tractor Supply and I got myself 5/8 inch bolt about 6 inches long, and my concept would be with a stop. Now I've got this little stop here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of 1/2-inch steel, and this is about a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. I'm going to drill a hole into this thing so I can mount it onto the bolt here. I'm going to take this portion that adapts to the tailstock off and mount it to this piece here. So that'll replace this piece, which will then obviously mount to my bedways, and I can position this any way I want. So
that should work.
Yeah, I think it'll work. It is kind of a culmination of Captain Eddie's, Tim Yoder's, and friggin' also the easy hollowing system. Right now I just can't afford one of them high-speed systems if I'm trying to save money for a lathe. So, but Bob, I did want to put a shout out to you. Hey, I appreciate the elbow. It did work for me on the piece that I was working on. I need that extra room. So the options are cut the bar down or come up with a different plan. And I think the different plan is going to work great for me. So that's what I got. Hopefully
that looks like a good plan.
Hopefully it'll make people's little juices flow around their head on how they can do their own. I was in the process, honestly, before I got this from Bob, I was in the process of building my own, and I'd gotten hold of this this 1/2 inch, by 1.5 inch stock, and I got about 3-foot section of it from my local metal supply, and I was just going to build a quick little articulating arm, but Bob offered me this other tool, so I took him up on it, and I appreciate it. But it's definitely a step in the right direction because, with that wrist injury I had, Greg was talking about a shoulder injury. I put a drill through my wrist through and through a couple of years ago working on my horse trailer, and I don't have the dexterity and the ability to grip for that deep hollowing, or anything over 2 inches just kicks my butt. So that's what I got.
And
Thank you, sir.
And for anybody that might be curious about what he's talking about, the way I modified mine so that I'm not clamping it to the quill of my tailstock, I have a demo for my elbow tool coming up on the 19th here on Worldwide Wood Turners, and I will show you that modification.
Thank you, Billy. And Tim, I'm glad you didn't take that 1/2 by 1.5 inches and make an articulating arm. There would be even with half-inch steel. There's going to be harmonics in it. They're made, most of those other units are made with 1-inch masses, and it can be aluminum, magnesium, or whatever. I made mine out of 1.25 square stock. Should have seen the look on my metal guy's face when I said I want 1.25 square. But I picked up a ton of it one time. It had about 25 club members come over, and we fabricated 25 of those elbow tools on one Saturday. The drilling, the bushings, everything else. Machined them all out and never had a reject on a single one of them. It was tools they made and they can use. And if you make them the right size, any size machine will work. You can't take the big one and put it on the small one. It's or the small one and put it on the big one. You know, a little bit rough.